Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ironworker Gaming Channel, home of the disgustingly inaccurate melees. I am Ironworker814, and thank you for joining me for another Destiny 2 PvP viewer-requested weapon review, where we take a look at pros, cons, stats, damage numbers, and how to obtain the weapon. The weapon we have in store for today is Fighting Lion, requested by Cyber and Dion Abel. If at any point during this video you find it helpful, useful, or enjoyable, please remember to give it a like. And if this happens to be the first time you found your way to this channel, consider subscribing to show some support for your favorite Destiny playing Union Ironworker. But how about that Fighting Lion? I gotta say, I hate this weapon. Or I should say, I used to hate this weapon. While it still doesn't exactly fit my Crucible mindset, during the process of live testing this weapon, I learned to appreciate it for what it is. And I always love when the review process changes my opinion of a weapon. It's one of the perks of the trade, I guess. So we're going to take a solid look at Fighting Lion and see how it's holding up in the Crucible here in Season of Arrivals. But first, as always, we'll take a look at how to obtain this weapon for those who have not done so already. Fighting Lion was introduced into the Destiny universe with the launch of Destiny 2, coming with the original batch of exotic weapons. For good or for bad, both Fighting Lion and its corresponding catalyst are world drops. So while there is not a direct route to obtain Fighting Lion, the Nightfall Ordeals remain a great exotic farm, or check in with Xur this weekend to see if he's selling it. At one point, the catalyst was the main reward from the Festival of the Lost event in 2018, but now it can be found dropping at the end of nearly any activity. So with that out of the way, let's head into the stats and damage numbers. Fighting Lion is an exotic void breach load grenade launcher which can shoot at 90 rounds per minute, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it's not figuring in the reload time or something. Without any enhancements, I have each shot coming out at roughly 2 seconds apiece. But this is the only grenade launcher that will use primary ammo. As for the stats, we can see that we are maxed out in handling, but we do have a little slower velocity when compared to other breach load grenade launchers. The intrinsic trait is delayed gratification. Grenade projectiles will bounce off surfaces, press and hold your fire button, then release to detonate. The exotic perk is Thin the Herd. Direct hits do more damage to combatant shields. Rapid kills against grenade damaged enemies refill the magazine. Kills always drop primary ammo. The exotic catalyst, which can be unlocked by getting 1000 kills with Fighting Lion, will boost the reload speed. Bungie seems to think this will take the rounds per minute down to 72, but after doing a little bit of math, it's more like 1.5 seconds between shots. Also, you will gain a brief period of bonus accuracy and handling on your primary or heavy weapon once Fighting Lion is fired. Into the damage numbers, and on a direct hit on a shielded guardian, we will do 144 points of blast damage and an additional 22 points of impact damage due to the Thin the Herd perk, bringing the grand total on a direct hit up to 166 points of damage. If for some reason you're concerned about the TTK on this weapon, it's coming in at about 2 seconds, requiring 2 grenades. I also wanted to look into the blast radius here. You can see at ground zero we are getting that 144 points of damage, which obviously gradually diminishes based on the target's proximity to the initial blast. The maximum effective distance seems to be right around 4.5 meters, where we're seeing 44 points of damage. Any further out than that, you will not connect. And with nothing else to touch on here, let's dive into the pros and see what this weapon can do well in the Crucible. First off, having a grenade launcher that runs on primary ammo is pretty awesome. While you can run out of ammo for Fighting Lion, it is actually pretty difficult to do so, since you can hold up to 23 rounds at a time in PvP. And I gotta say, I had an absolute blast just spam firing this thing into pinch points where enemy guardians tend to pile up. This grenade launcher also gives you the ability to hold these pinch points solo for a period of time while you're waiting for backup to get to you. Also, since Fighting Lion is running on primary ammo and you should have a lot of it most of the time, this is a great weapon in team shot engagements. Even if you're a subpar PvP player, you can just position yourself behind your teammates and start lobbing grenades. This is going to net some defeats for you, while your frontline players are snagging easy cleanup kills. Also, Fighting Lion performs very well in areas of the map with tight hallways and corridors, since you can bounce your grenade around corners, hitting unsuspecting enemy guardians. But because of the hold and release to detonate functionality, you are not strictly relegated to these areas. You do have the ability to deal with targets out in the open or targets in the air, as long as you have the depth perception and timing required. You can also get your creative juices flowing and use your grenades as traps by placing them in doorways or around corners. You can just place the grenade and wait for an enemy guardian to run over it, since you can hold off the detonation for roughly 5 seconds. And lastly, this is a great pop and swap weapon to open engagements with, especially if you can time your detonation so it goes off very near an enemy target, since one crit from a hand cannon or a few bullets from an auto rifle will put the enemy player down. And if you have the catalyst unlocked, you are also getting that bonus to accuracy and stability, making landing these cleanup shots that much easier. And heck, if you wanted to, since we're using primary ammo, you could do something like Fighting Lion in a sniper rifle. And while that's a little bit outside of my skill spectrum, I'm sure there are people out there who could be very successful in doing this. But now let's head into the cons and explore some of Fighting Lion's drawbacks in PvP. First and foremost, Fighting Lion does not kill on direct impact. It's totally understandable being that we're using primary ammo, but this can cause some problems nevertheless. It can make it so this weapon is strictly a pop and swap weapon in certain scenarios. Some players, including myself, do not head into the Crucible with that mindset built in. Generally, I have a gun for situation A and a gun for situation B, whether that be medium short, long short, and I generally try to limit my engagements to the situations that I'm kitted out for. Now, trying to synergize two weapons that work well together is a totally viable way to play, but it's just not the way I prefer to play. Next, Fighting Lion is pretty weak against supers, so unless you're confident enough to run a special weapon in your primary slot, this may leave you without an option to deal with them. On top of that, once you launch a grenade towards your enemies, and you are visually tracking it, waiting for the perfect instant to detonate it, you can be out of cover for an extended period of time. I had issues with this several times where I got chewed up by auto rifles or got my head taken off by a sniper rifle. This is just something you need to be aware of. And lastly, you can blow yourself up with this thing, since you could potentially take that full 144 points of blast damage to yourself. So if you've taken a few shots and that grenade you just launched comes bouncing back at you and hits you, you will die. And it will be very embarrassing, and your friends will probably laugh at you. So is Fighting Lion a good option for the Crucible? The answer to that is 100% dependent on your playstyle. If you like the rhythm of swapping back and forth between weapons to secure kills, you'll probably do very well with this grenade launcher. But if that's really not your thing, or you just don't think you have the skill set to play in that manner, a different option will probably suit you a lot better. But I think if you haven't fooled around with Fighting Lion recently, now is a great time to pick it up and give it a try. It is a great change of pace weapon for the Crucible. So if you've made it to this point in the video and you did enjoy it, please remember to give it a like, it helps out immensely. And if you'd like to see more Destiny 2 reviews, guides, and discussions, all made by yours truly, consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel. If you'd like to interact with me live, I do occasionally stream on Twitch. You could head over there, look for Ironworker814, give me a follow, and you will get notified whenever I hop on. If you'd like to contact me, the absolute best way to do so is by leaving a comment down below. I read and respond to all my comments because I enjoy interacting with you guys and I respect your time. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for spending a piece of your day checking out this weapon review. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.